I See Dead People. The Sixth Sense wasn't just a ghost story. It was a cultural earthquake that redefined modern horror. On the surface, audiences saw a chilling tale of a boy haunted by visions. But behind the camera, chaos brewed. Child actors carried crushing weight, Bruce Willis nearly derailed production, and M. Night Shyamalan fought the studio every step of the way. Today, we're uncovering 20 weird facts about The Sixth Sense, from dangerous stunts to hidden meanings you missed. And wait until you hear the bonus fact. It's the one twist even the director didn't want revealed. Stay with us. Bruce Willis was forced into the role. Most fans think Bruce Willis signed on to The Sixth Sense because he believed in the script. Not true. Willis actually landed the role of Dr. Malcolm Crowe as part of a legal settlement. He had been sued for abruptly walking away from another Disney project called Broadway Brawler. Instead of dragging it through court, Disney offered him a deal, star in 2 other studio films, to make up for the loss. The Sixth Sense was one of them. Ironically, what began as contractual punishment became one of the most acclaimed performances of his career. The twist? If not for that failed romantic comedy, Willis may never have stepped into Shyamalan's haunting masterpiece. The iconic line was almost cut. "I see dead people" is one of the most quoted lines in film history. But here's the shocker. The studio originally thought it was too on the nose. Executives felt audiences would laugh instead of shiver. Haley Joel Osment, however, delivered the line with such devastating seriousness that it shattered doubts. During test screenings, the phrase became a spine-chilling mantra, sparking gasps across packed theaters. What audiences didn't know was that Osment rehearsed the line dozens of times in private, whispering it in the mirror to strip away any trace of childish innocence. Without his eerie delivery, one of cinema's greatest lines might have been lost forever. Haley Joel Osment changed the ending. The ending twist, revealing Bruce Willis's character was dead all along, is legendary. But here's the kicker. Haley Joel Osment unknowingly changed how it played out. Shyamalan initially planned a more ambiguous reveal, leaving audiences uncertain. Yet Osment's ability to project sorrow and empathy forced Shyamalan to lean into full tragedy. In Dailies, his wide-eyed grief was so powerful that the filmmakers rewrote the final confrontation, making Cole whisper the truth instead of shouting it. The boy actor didn't just act in the film, he shaped its very narrative, ensuring the twist landed with devastating clarity. Toni Collette's breakdown was real. Toni Collette, who played Cole's mother, wasn't supposed to cry in one of the film's most heartbreaking scenes, the car confession. The script suggested restrained emotion, but when Osment delivered his trembling monologue about seeing his grandmother, Collette collapsed into sobs. Shyamalan, realizing the raw authenticity, kept the cameras rolling. That single unscripted breakdown became one of the film's most gut-wrenching moments, convincing audiences of the mother-son bond. Not acting, but raw human reaction. Collette later admitted she didn't even remember crying. Her body just broke under the weight of Osment's performance. Shyamalan hid clues in plain sight. The Sixth Sense isn't just a ghost story, it's a puzzle box. Shyamalan planted visual clues throughout the film to foreshadow the twist ending. The most chilling? The color red. Anytime the spirit world intersected with the living, red objects appeared. Doorknobs, clothing, balloons. The director was meticulous. He even ordered costume changes if an unintended red object appeared in frame. Audiences didn't notice consciously, but subconsciously, they felt something was off. This wasn't coincidence. It was Shyamalan's cinematic sleight of hand, teaching viewers to see dead people without realizing it. The brilliance? The truth was hiding in every frame all along. Bruce Willis and M. Night Shyamalan clashed constantly on screen. Bruce Willis appears calm, measured, and emotionally restrained. Behind the scenes, it was a different story. Willis reportedly clashed with Shyamalan over the director's slow, deliberate pacing. The actor, used to fast-moving action films, grew frustrated with endless retakes and Shyamalan's demand for subtlety. Crew members whispered that Willis sometimes walked off set between takes, forcing production delays. Yet the irony is stark. The same stillness Willis resisted became the core of his haunting performance. Not explosions, not one-liners, but silence. Without those battles, his portrayal of Malcolm might have slipped into routine action hero territory. Instead, tension off-camera forged one of his most vulnerable roles. Osment won the role with a trick. Casting the role of Cole was brutal. Hundreds of boys auditioned, but none could carry both innocence and terror. When Haley Joel Osment walked into the room, he delivered a chilling audition, but then added a twist. He asked Shyamalan if he could read the part a second time, this time whispering the lines. The effect stunned the room. Instead of shouting fear, Osment channeled a quiet dread that crawled under the skin. That decision sealed the role instantly. Shyamalan later admitted Osment didn't just audition, he demonstrated how the character should be played. Without that risky choice, cinema might have lost one of its most iconic child performances. Donnie Wahlberg, starved for his scene. In the film's opening, the gaunt figure who shoots Bruce Willis is played by Donnie Wahlberg, yes, from New Kids on the Block. To look unrecognizable, Wahlberg lost more than 40 pounds in just a few weeks. He lived on an extreme diet of coffee, cigarettes, and apples, practically wasting himself away. Wahlberg's transformation was so shocking that even crew members failed to recognize him when he arrived on set. That single scene, lasting only a few minutes, became a career-defining performance. It wasn't glamorized method acting, it was a brutal sacrifice. Wahlberg later admitted it left him weak for months, but it gave the movie its unforgettable jolt of madness. The hospital scene nearly got cut. One of the most terrifying sequences is when Cole reveals his wounds to Bruce Willis in a hospital bed. But Disney executives worried it was too intense for audiences. They suggested trimming it down to a brief dialogue exchange. Shyamalan fought back, arguing the scene wasn't just horror, it was the emotional heart of the movie, showing Cole's vulnerability. Test screenings proved him right. Audiences didn't recoil, they leaned in. That scene turned Osment into an Oscar-nominated powerhouse, and it became one of the most quoted moments of the entire film. If executives had won, the movie's emotional spine might have vanished. The movie almost skipped theaters. It's hard to believe now, but The Sixth Sense nearly bypassed a wide release. Early studio execs worried the film was too slow and too cerebral for mainstream audiences. Some even suggested sending it straight to cable television. But word of mouth from test screenings spread like wildfire. By the time Disney released it in theaters, they realized they had an unstoppable phenomenon on their hands. The film grossed over $670 million worldwide, making it the second highest earner of 1999. So here's the mid-roll engagement hook. Go ahead and like and subscribe, because just like this film, our best twists are still coming. Shyamalan hid himself in the film like Alfred Hitchcock. M. Night Shyamalan sneaked himself into The Sixth Sense. But his cameo wasn't a vanity move, it was symbolic. He appears as the doctor who treats Cole after his mother mistakes his bruises for abuse. In that brief role, Shyamalan embodies skepticism, the rational adult who cannot see the supernatural truth. It's a sly commentary on how adults dismiss children's fears. For audiences, it passed as a throwaway role. But for Shyamalan, it was his way of stepping directly into the conflict, reason versus belief, science versus the unseen. That self-insertion wasn't just an Easter egg, it was a manifesto. The director, too, was saying, sometimes children see what adults refuse to. Osment's father guarded him fiercely. Haley Joel Osment was only 10 during filming, and the weight of carrying an entire supernatural thriller could have crushed him. His father, actor Eugene Osment, became a constant presence on set. He shielded Haley from studio pressures and refused to let producers overwork him. Crew members recall Eugene stepping in when schedules grew too long, reminding the team that Haley was still a child, not a machine. Ironically, that protection allowed Haley to dive deeper into terrifying performances because he knew he was safe. Behind every chilling line Osment delivered, there was a father ensuring the boy didn't burn out. Not exploitation, but balance. Without that safeguard, Cole's haunted eyes might have been too real to bear. The film rewrote horror marketing. When Disney prepared to promote The Sixth Sense, they faced a dilemma. How do you sell a horror film with no gore, no jump scares, and a quiet, grieving protagonist? Their answer was groundbreaking. Focus on the twist without revealing it. Trailers were carefully edited to show just enough supernatural moments to hook audiences while hiding the truth. It wasn't pitched as a slasher, it was pitched as prestige cinema. That gamble worked. The marketing didn't just sell tickets, it changed how studios promoted psychological horror for decades. The twist wasn't just in the movie, it was baked into its advertising DNA. Critics didn't see the twist coming either. Film critics are trained to sniff out cliches and predict plot turns. But when The Sixth Sense premiered, even seasoned reviewers admitted they were blindsided. Roger Ebert confessed he hadn't a clue until the final moments. This wasn't a case of audiences being naive. It was a universal blind spot. Shyamalan's slow burn style lulled even professionals into accepting Bruce Willis's presence as living truth. The cultural effect was massive. Suddenly, every thriller tried to deliver a twist ending, but few matched the precision of Shyamalan's reveal. What critics didn't expect was that this small-budget film from an unknown director would redefine narrative trust. The audience was fooled and delighted in equal measure. Awards season shockwaves. Everyone remembers the film's box office dominance, but its awards campaign was just as wild. The Sixth Sense received 6 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor, and Best Supporting Actress. For a supernatural thriller, this was unprecedented. Horror films were often dismissed as pulp, yet this one stood shoulder to shoulder with American Beauty and The Cider House Rules. Though it didn't win, the nominations legitimized horror as serious art in the eyes of the industry. The twist? Its true victory was cultural. Shyamalan proved that audiences could embrace a ghost story with the same reverence as high drama. The Academy didn't hand it Oscars, but history handed it immortality. The cold breath wasn't CGI. One of the most chilling images is when Cole's breath fogs in the air as a ghost appears. Audiences assumed it was a digital effect. Not true. Shyamalan wanted authenticity, so the scene was filmed inside a frozen meat locker at near-Arctic temperatures. Crew members bundled in heavy jackets, while Osment, in just pajamas, shivered naturally. The result was haunting realism, every exhale a visible reminder of the invisible. It wasn't pixels, it was pain. What viewers didn't know is that Osment endured those brutal conditions for hours, his teeth chattering between takes. The fog wasn't CGI, it was the boy's actual body fighting the cold, captured forever as a visual metaphor for death's icy grip. A secret tribute to Hitchcock. Shyamalan worshipped Hitchcock, and The Sixth Sense is laced with secret nods to the master of suspense. The most striking is the deliberate use of long, unbroken shots during tense conversations. In Hitchcock's Psycho, this style builds dread by refusing to cut away. Shyamalan borrowed it, using still frames and minimal camera movement to make audiences feel trapped in the moment. Another homage, casting Toni Collette, who resembles classic Hitchcock blondes but plays against type as a struggling single mother. These choices weren't accidents, they were tributes, hidden in plain sight. Shyamalan wasn't just making a ghost story. He was writing himself into the lineage of cinema's greatest suspense architects. The crew thought it would flop. Despite the talent involved, morale on set was shaky. Crew members whispered doubts, calling the story too quiet and too weird. Without gore, big scares, or a bankable director, many assumed it would vanish after a modest release. Even Bruce Willis wasn't fully convinced. He often described it as a little ghost movie. But Shyamalan's conviction never wavered. He told his cast and crew that the power was in silence, in stillness, in what wasn't shown. When the film exploded at the box office, those same doubters realized they had witnessed history. It wasn't just a hit, it was vindication for restraint. The silence they feared became the roar that defined its success. Shyamalan's rewrite saved the film. The original script for The Sixth Sense was far messier. Shyamalan's first drafts leaned heavily into gore and shock, with more traditional ghost attacks. It was his rewrite, focusing on character over carnage, that transformed the story. He stripped away cliches, added the color symbolism, and, most importantly, reimagined the ending. Without that rewrite, the film might have been just another forgettable horror flick of the 90s. Instead, it became a cultural touchstone. What audiences didn't realize is that the movie they loved was born from ruthless editing. Shyamalan wasn't just a director, he was his own harshest critic, reshaping his script until it carried the precision of a scalpel. The twist changed Hollywood forever. Before The Sixth Sense, twist endings were seen as gimmicks. After its release, they became a box office goldmine. Studios scrambled to replicate Shyamalan's success, greenlighting thrillers like The Others and Identity. Even television absorbed the lesson, with shows like Lost and Westworld embracing shocking reveals as their lifeblood. The phrase, "I see dead people," entered pop culture shorthand, used in everything from political cartoons to late-night comedy. But the real impact was subtler. Audiences learned to watch films differently, hunting for hidden clues. Shyamalan didn't just deliver a twist, he rewired how viewers engage with cinema. The ripple effect is still felt today. Bonus fact, a hidden dedication. No one noticed The Sixth Sense carries a secret tribute in its credits, a quiet dedication to Shyamalan's parents. Few viewers ever notice it, but it's there. His way of honoring the two people who fueled his storytelling dreams. More intriguingly, the dedication is paired with his use of family photographs hidden in background shots, like the one Cole shows his mother in the car scene. These weren't props, they were actual family images, tucked in to blur the line between fiction and reality. Shyamalan wasn't just telling a ghost story, he was weaving his own family history into the film. That final hidden layer proves The Sixth Sense was never just about the dead. It was about remembering the living. In the end, The Sixth Sense wasn't simply a horror film. It was a cultural phenomenon born of pain, chance, and vision. It redefined storytelling, elevated child acting, and gave cinema one of its greatest twists. Now it's your turn. Did any of these facts surprise you? Drop your favorite in the comments, like and subscribe for more hidden Hollywood secrets, and remember, sometimes the scariest truths are the ones hiding in plain sight.